Hi everyone, my name is Matt Beisel and I am an application engineer for Prolim focusing on machine kit development. I'll be explaining and demonstrating the new feature of simplified tool holder creation in NX 1980. Here's the agenda for today's webinar. First, I will give background information on how NX manages tools, tool holders, devices, etc. Then I'll discuss programmers' current challenges with getting all of this information in their programming and verification system. Next, I'll demonstrate the new method of importing solid tool holders in NX 1980. I will also discuss some specifics of the tool holder database. And finally, I'll review best practices and tips for importing items into the library. So, how are tool holders managed in NX? Tool holders are managed in NX in the library. In the lower left of this slide, you can see a tree diagram showing the contents of the library. It consists of a device, feeds, speeds, fixtures, tools, and machines. Every out-of-the-box installation has a library, and many companies use a common library shared on the network, so they can all see the same chucks, fixtures, tools, holders, etc. On the right-hand side, you can see the same kind of directory structure here, and since this webinar is about holders, where are the holders stored? They're stored in this holder database. And if you want to really look at it, I'm sure you guys do, it's basically a bunch of cylinders and cones and radius surfaces. Defined here, by these numbers. Okay. So what's the big deal, about this stuff? Why did I show you the last stuff? Well, that information has to be input for every holder in the holder database.dat. And tool vendors typically provide 3D models of their tool holders. However, these 3D models can't be used directly for NC programming in conventional CAM systems. It requires the programmer manually input the tool holder parameters, such as the diameters and lengths of the tool holder sections. This manual process is time-consuming and prone to errors. This means that holder steps are entered for every 3D model you have or tool holder, and it needs to be maintained for each tool in the library. And who has the responsibility for doing this? Whose fault is everything? It's Mr. Programmer. So Mr. Programmer, you're responsible for put this data in here and making sure it's right. And so if we had an easier way to import that information, it would be great, because we could focus on doing more important things. And the NX 1980 holder creation capability, it automatically recognizes features and the associated dimensions of the 3D models provided by cutting tool vendors. It automatically populates the holder parameters in NX, accelerating NC programming and enabling accurate machining simulation to achieve error-free production. You can also export the holder along with its parameters to the tool library for further reuse. The automated holder creation helps you speed up your NC programming to end up with some pretty great tool paths. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to NX here. And I am going to open one of the out-of-the-box examples. This is a 3-axis mill, FANUC millimeters. And so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to take a look at this. And what I can see, it's got some type of carousel here. And I've got 3 pockets. So I need, maybe I'll see if I can put something in there. Okay? So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here on the left hand side and say I'm in the assembly navigator and see if there's any clues to what's going on. And what I'll see is there's a separate part assembly for each one of these. Okay? So in my example, so I need to do something like that. All right? So I'm going back to the machine tool view, and what I'm going to focus on is adding tools to these 3 pockets and adding holders to these 3 pockets. So first I'm going to add my tool. So I'm going to insert a tool. I'm going to create a new one. And hold on here, I'm going to save this as an example on my desktop. Okay? So I've got that saved, and now I'm going to add some tools. So I'm going to insert a tool. It's a ball end mill. I'll say it's 5. It's the world's longest, skinniest ball end mill. So let's see where it is. That's not too bad. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and define the holder. So I can click on holder, and what I can do is I can retrieve like a holder in a library. But how do you actually get stuff in there? You know, the examples inside NX are kind of limited. But how do you get stuff in there? Okay, so the way that I'm going to get the items in here is we have this new option here. Where we can go ahead and select a solid body. So we got to get some solid bodies in here to make it so we can add our holders. So I'm going to open up 3 step files. Okay, so 1 tool, 2 tools. I can go to 3 tools. Okay, so I've got this guy, and this guy. Okay, and they're step files. And so I'm going to go back in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Assemblies, Add Component, and I'm going to add these one at a time, and I'm just going to add it here at 0, say OK. So there's 1, add a component, we'll go ahead and select the other tool. So we've got that here. I'm going to use the same position, okay. Add another component. Okay. So I've got three tools there. Make sure I put it kind of in the same spot. Okay, so let's look at this first tool. So I'm going to hide these others, and I also want to maybe hide this and this. Let's see. There. Okay, so we can see this tool. It's going to be tool number 6. And so we've got the model in there. We have to do, here's the secret handshake. Hit wave geometry linker, select body, select the body that you have. I do hide original, and okay. So I've got that in here, and so now I should be able to add it. So let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to insert a tool. I'm going to get my end mill here. Okay, so I've got that. Then we're going to do holder. Okay, and then we see holder source. I'm going to specify the solid body. Pick the solid body. And then I click retrieve step parameters from the solid body. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens here. It's going to do thinking. Ooh, that was fast. So it looks like, how many steps do we have? How many things, extra things would the programmer have to think about? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's not too bad. Oh, no, it's 15. So that's a lot for me. So I'll go ahead and say okay to this. Okay? And now what you'll see is, lo and behold, I have this skinny tool holder. So I've got that going for me. So let's do it again. So I'm going to turn off the tool 6, and then I'm going to look at this one. Okay. And then the secret handshake is make a copy of this body. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I look at my list here, and I'm going to insert a tool. And I'm not very creative. All I can think of is a 5mm end mill, so at least it's not an 1/8 inch end mill. So I got that. And then what did I forget to do? The holder. So let's do the holder. And then we specify the solid body. Boom. Click on the solid body, and I don't have any steps. Usually the programmer has to enter steps. The last one was 15 steps. Let's see what this one is. This one, I mean, doesn't it look like there's not too many steps? But if I scroll down, yeah, it's not that pretty. Yeah, it's a big one too. Okay, so don't have to worry about them. They automatically got it import, so that's good. Okay, boom. Now let's go back to the carousel. So you can see here we have a different, tool holder. So what I need to do now is go ahead and add the third tool. So I'm going to make sure that we have, a third tool in here. So I'm going to insert a tool, and I'll say it's a 3mm end mill. thing I forgot to do is specify the holder, but we can still do that. So click here. And then we click here. Okay, so I think it saved us a lot of steps. That's good. This one only has 14 steps. So we got that. So let's check out what we've got here. So I'm going to show the new things that we have. So the new things that we have this, and then this one that we just added. So we've kind of got those three tools. And before I jump to my next window, what I want to do is I want to make sure I can reuse these again in my library. So I'm going to go into my library. Go into my tool. And I'm going to just basically export this to the library. So I click here and okay, and then I'm going to, this is what it's going to be called. I'm going to export it to the holder library. So let's see what it says. Created in the metric tool library. And the reason it was created in the metric tool library is because this is a metric part. So if it was an inch part, it would be in inches. Okay, so it went ahead, created a metric holder library. I'm going to say okay. So that is awesome. So I need to make sure I do it for my other ones here. Need to export it to the library. Okay, and then this one. And I didn't name the last one yet, but the previous one. You guys get the idea. Okay. Okay. So for the drum roll, we want to see if we can use, the library. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ditch this stuff right here. Or you know what? Let's see if I open up this file again, if it will. I just want to open something that's not corrupted. Okay, so don't have anything there. Okay, but I want to use the same tool holder. So what do? We go to our pocket information, and I'm going to go ahead and insert the tool. And so this is just, the end mill. Okay. And let's see if we can get the holder out of the holder database. Because then I can use it, and other people can use it, and I can see what's in the tool chain, if my simulation supports it, and maybe I could do some lean activity to kind of tidy up the tool chain. hopefully you don't have time for that. Let's see here. So now I'm going to select the holder, and we have to get it from the library. And let's look the milling drilling, because that's what I did. So if we go there, we have these things that I put in there. Me playing around with stuff. This is the last one we put in there, but let's just say okay. We say okay, boom. So we have, the holder here, and it's great. Okay. Next, I want to go ahead and show you where all this stuff is stored. So I know this might not be the most exciting thing, but maybe for you guys that are here, you like it as much as I do. So I have a custom environment that I have set up, so our changes are going to go ahead and show up in here. Okay. And so what we'll see is in the metric library, we can look at this holder database. Go ahead and take a look at it. And we should, so it's ratting me out. It's showing that I did something to this, and it was for the demo. So somebody edited it. It was me. And what did I do? I put this stuff in it. And you can see the step definition, for both these holders. So as a programmer, I have to enter all this information, and isn't it awesome that you have a new way to do it? Okay, let's go ahead and review best practice. It looks like we're kind of running out of time. So I am going to switch over to that slide here. Okay, so tips and best practices. Always create a custom environment for NXCAM. This means that it's your installation, but it's customized specifically towards you. And so this can be something that you can, monitor and back up, but it's really easy to use an environment, to set up an environment. I would be happy to show you at Prolim. One thing that's really interesting, use the library. I know NX is huge, and there's a learning curve with learning it, but try and familiarize with some of the stuff there, because you can have different chuck jaws that you have in your library, and you can just swap them out. You can have different vices. It's pretty much wide open to customization. And difficult thing is sometimes it might be challenging to set that up. Never hand edit the library files. So you don't want to learn to not do this the hard way. So for example, I have NX at my company, and I decide to go into the library files, one of the DAT files, holder database.dat. Say I go in there. So as soon as you start hand editing it, it's funny because it looks like it's, very simple text, but in some of the formatting, like maybe end characters or control characters or something, it can corrupt the file. And so this is very bad because you've spent so much time, setting it up. So try to add your tools and your holders. Don't hand it. Okay? And the other thing I wanted to point out is, avoid non-uniform holder geometry. And what I mean by that, if I've got this holder that's got like a spiral feature on it, okay? So this is my holder before I started doing the demo. And it has this feature here, and for some reason, and maybe I did something wrong, it didn't like this helix that was here on the holder. So you'll notice in the demo, if you rewatch it, I don't have this geometry there. So yeah, try to avoid non-uniform holder geometry, and make sure you spend the time to set this up. I really think it's worth it, especially now that we have the solid tool import. So that was the end of my presentation. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now. Like what I know, about the holder and what I know about the database, and any questions you might have. Thank you.